I am one with you, and I know that heaven has blessed me with you. I am one
blessed
with you. I am one with you. I'm a medical doctor by training and a young leader in this country. Being the young leader that I am, I'm always up and about, so it's normally good to come back to someone who reminds you that you're on the right path, who kind of like tells you you're sane, you know, like it's okay. You're not thinking like someone your age should be thinking, but you should know that you're fine, like you're sane, you know. Yeah. Yeah, but she's loving, she's understanding, and she compliments me so well. She keeps me on check.
It was always a dream to find a guy who actually, does God's work. The fact that he's caring, being a leader, he's very sharp, by the way.
Oh,
He's
thank you.
very sharp. So he's actually made me, get out there and actually have fun. And being loving, oh, he treats me well. That one, he treats me so well. I always come first, which is so good. For ladies, you want to, for someone to think, when he wakes up in the morning, it's you he thinks about, which is so good. And the fact that he's left me be me, he's not controlling, he lets me be me, which is good.
Both went to Capetown University. The first day I saw her, I knew that she was the kind of a woman I would take to my mother.
I was like, it's a nice opportunity to meet this guy. Why not? Let's be friends. I don't know how it's gonna be. But as we went along, I was like, you know what? Me, I'm sorted. Fast forward, here we are.
The surprise wedding, I started planning it immediately after the proposal. In fact, being that the engagement was in Cape Town, it just gave us now the idea now to take it a notch further. And so she had no idea about this completely. I got in touch with my American friends. I put it together with their family and now their friends on the other side. So when we were landing, I told her, by the way, we've come to the US for a wedding. She was like, okay, what is that? Someone is wedding? And then I was like, no, we've come for your wedding.
I was like, no. Maybe tuko zako ni mingi. Let's just go. Then one lady is like, tomorrow we are going to buy you a gown. Then that's when it started dawning on me. This is actually happening. Then I heard, we are going to David's bridal. Because my David's what? It was like, we looked for an SDA church we couldn't find around because it was in Oklahoma. So there's this church where I go to. They've agreed that you can have the wedding there. Then I'm like, are you people serious? You mean we're having a wedding?
So the initial plan was to just have a small courthouse wedding where we just have a few guys witness, maybe 4, 6 people. We sign the papers and that would be it. But then those guys, wow. So the person I was organizing this with is called Ray Sanders. All along when we were talking, he didn't even let me know that he was an ordained minister who could carry out weddings. So towards the end, like 2 weeks to go, that's when I was asking him, okay, fine, we've made all arrangements. We have arrangements with the courthouse and everything. Who is the officiating person, the officer, courthouse officer? And then he was like, oh, do you know I also do weddings? And I was like, okay, fine. So the plan was a small ceremony. But then when we got there, the friends had come on board and it could no longer be small. So it was quite big.
It was never part of my dream. But when I saw how everything was unfolding, and I told God, you know what? I'm going to walk in faith in this. I'm not going to think about a lot of things. Allow me to enjoy this day. Ah, it was
And
beautiful.
she did. She enjoyed herself.
And then in the evening, there was another limo. And you know, they didn't even tell us, you know how you're walking out of church and then they had these bells, you know how they ring the bells and they throw rice. Those things don't happen here in Kenya. So beautiful. So walking out of the church, there was this big limo. You know, me, CJ Panda limo. So I was like, what?
Sort of things that she had not done, but she'd been talking about them. So it was just
Yeah.
nice to time her with all those experiences.
Yeah.
The limo for me was equally a surprise. That was pulled by the friends there.
Yeah.
Even before the US trip, we'd been in trying to get in contact with her parents. But then I did background check for her with her uncles, cousins, and everyone else was already on board. So yeah, at least we got approvals. Even as I was planning the US wedding, I knew for sure that there would be a Kenyan wedding. So by the time the US one was happening, we already had a date set for the Kenyan one.
Yeah.
In fact, just that she didn't know, but then the date was already set for the Kenyan wedding. Yeah. It's something that I've really wanted to do for quite some time, and a wife like her is the dream of my youth. So yeah, I'm living my dream, just being her husband. We were waiting for the buses from Nairobi to arrive, and we thought they were the ones who delay us. Interestingly, they didn't have to delay us. We ended up delaying ourselves. I wasn't really nervous until the skies, like the clouds started to really block the blue view of the sky. But generally, I didn't feel, the anxiety you have when you're doing something for the first time, it wasn't there. I was more peaceful, more calm. I didn't have butterflies this time around. Just basking in the joy and the company of friends and relatives. It made a lot of sense and joy for us.
Tom is a really nice guy. He's God-fearing. He's very humble. And you can just tell, as in the depth of love he has for my sister, from the way he treats her. He's basically the one for her. And I know Aileen is in a happy place, despite everything that the relationship has been through. I know she's at a happy place.
Tom is, we call him Tom the politician. I should tell, because he was a student leader and he's always loved politics, but we also call him Daktari, so he's a very caring guy at the same time. And I see him as someone he's a gentle guy, I think a very loving guy. I love the devotion that he has had to Elaine over all these years. I think most of us would really love to have such a man. So I think Elaine is also very lucky to have such a good man as her husband.
Were asking me how come you're not a bridezilla. I even don't know what a bridezilla is, but they were just like, oh, unacheka too, everything is going on okay. But I wasn't nervous because one, what was in my mind is I just wanted to get hitched, get married, dance, and let the day just flow. But I wasn't nervous. I was just happy. And the fact that my friends were happy, our family members, his mom was happy, my relatives were happy. Guys were like, hey, umetuleta in Nanyuki. We were taking selfies everywhere. So I knew it was a beautiful day.
No, the venue, very nice.
Yeah.
Audrey, I think I would recommend, I know people are used to Naivasha nowadays. You guys should try Mount Kenya region.
It's beautiful.
Fairmont, to be precise. I'm not accountable for anywhere else they go.
Yeah.
If you choose a field out there, it's on you.
Yeah.
Tom happens to be my cousin, and we've been close friends since we were very young. When his father passed on, he gave a speech, and people could not believe that the speech was done or made by a secondary school person. So from right there, I mean, we all knew that Tom was destined for greater things. So for me, I know this couple, they're going somewhere, and I trust that they'll be movers and shakers in this country.
The first thing I did, I remember in the morning, I just told God, would you shower me with, blessings?
Showers of blessing.
Yeah, and then something funny, it started raining.
Did you pray for rain?
I don't know, I just said showers of blessings. I didn't mean rain per se, but I told God to just check the day. May everyone have fun, and may it be a beautiful, beautiful day. I'm still trying to, it's not yet sunk in, vizuri, but I thank God. You know, the things you talk about, ukiwa peke yako, you don't know they would actually come true, and then here it is, they've all come true, like one after the other. It's been wonderful.
I knew Eileen first before Tom. I used to teach Eileen in her Sabbath school. I would like to describe Eileen as a very gentle, graceful lady. Yes. I would like to tell Tom to take very good care of her and to make her better than who she is already, because she's good enough.
However, when it started looking like it was about to drizzle, I have to admit I got really, really nervous. And then it started to pour, and there was nothing I could do. So that's where you let it go. And I thank God that my best man, Paul, was just telling me, bro, there comes a time when you have to look for the good. You remember that verse that says all things happen for the good of them that believe in the Lord? Eh? Now you have to look for the good in this.
Yeah.
Just look through it and see the good. Don't look for anything else. Yeah, so I think I had people around me who were encouraging me. But it took us like 1.5 hours of just asking for the bridesmaids, just to leave the room and come. Because apparently reports were that they were ready. So, and it was like 1.5 hours later when it started drizzling and eventually pouring. Yeah, so when I looked through and I saw the good in it, I had peace.
First time I was so nervous, very anxious. I didn't know how, when you're up there on the pulpit saying I do, those mixed feelings. They was telling you I was so confused. I didn't know after you say yes, what do you do? How do you operate as a wife next? What do people expect? But this second one, I was like, hii nishafanya. There's nothing new. Yeah, so it was
a veteran.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Then I remember approaching, when I was now getting into, going towards the pulpit, I saw the aunt. She's the one who first came in front to receive me. And then I saw him, then I saw my family. I just started crying. I lost it. And initially I was telling guys, oh, Mimi, never. I lost it at that point. It was beautiful. I can't explain the emotions.
Not seen the gown. She was really looking gorgeous. Apparently, I'm not supposed to see the gown, I hear. I would have loved to. I don't like surprises. I like surprising her, but I don't like surprises. No, this felt special. I think it really felt unique. Both when she was walking down the aisle both times, they've been unique. I wouldn't say one was better than the other, but this one was a little bit more emotional, especially with family around, the ululations that she's approaching and her shedding her tears, and I was there. For a moment, I thought I didn't have a handkerchief in my pocket. Luckily, there was one. Someone must have put it in there for me. Then I saw her shedding a tear, and I was, looking for something to wipe her tears with. It was nice. I love you.
And I know God has ordained this love.
And I know that God has ordained this.
Because of this,
I desire to be your lifelong wife.
I desire to be a lifelong wife.
The US one was, we wrote letters to each other. That was special. Hers was a prayer. I think mine was more of a promise. But then the ones here we did were a little bit traditional, but they had a tweak to it. So both are unique in their own ways. And somehow the Kenyan wedding really has roots. It's been more rooted, so felt relatively better. 8 years down the line, when we did the US wedding, we had a discussion, and she told me that she officially becomes Mrs. Mboya when I marry her in Kenya. So it's at this wedding that now she was taking my name, so it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. She can be tough.
For me, it was, what Zungus wouldn't understand. So I was like, back home, people would understand when I take that name, telling them I'm Mrs. Mboya, because at least they witnessed. The other side, they were not there, so they didn't actually witness. But I think I was just also trying to pull his leg so that I have, yes, yeah, yeah. We already had a certificate, which was communicated back in Kenya. There are rules. The other side is that when you have a certificate, they also communicate to the
Your
registry
country.
back in Kenya. So we didn't have to have
another one.
Yes, yeah.
As a standard rule, in an SDA church, then you don't exchange rings within the church. You can exchange rings at the reception, or if you're doing a garden wedding, then you can exchange rings there, but not within the church. So you see, this was not the first wedding.
Yeah.
So this was a second wedding, and it was happening for people who stayed together, so that's why it worked. The fact that we already had a wedding, it was already a church wedding, so this was a prayer, it was meant to be kind of like a reception, the Kenyan wedding reception, because the first wedding is the main wedding. You marry the same woman, you can marry the same woman as many times, we can have 10, 20 weddings, but then the first one really counts, because the first one is where you make a commitment and you move in together and all that. As much as it was a reception, we still just did it like now the second wedding.
It was like now renewing those vows again. Yeah.
I'm really grateful to God for the opportunity to do the wedding also in front of family and friends. Yeah.
It's so different in so many levels. Her dress wasn't white as most would be, and she was pregnant, which, by the way, I hope you know that Adventists don't even officiate those kinds of weddings, and it was done. So it was great in so many levels. Being very staunch Adventists, I don't know what they did to the pastors for them to be able to officiate. But as you can see, a lot of us were just so happy for her. I just wish that God is going to shine upon them whatever hurdles that comes, they're gonna overcome it.
That was out of this world. That was good. But I didn't know they were going to sing the same song here, and it was so nice. Yeah, it was beautiful.
During the US wedding, I also sang
He also
for
sang.
her a song that I'd composed. So
Yeah, it was really beautiful.
group, the instruments, I've always been singing the lead voice, and lately now I've had to start singing bass. I really wanted to sing for her, and I knew that she would love it, though she wasn't expecting it. I just wanted to sing for her also to show her that I appreciate her, and my musical self is also happy that I'm marrying her.
Yeah. Doing great. Despite the rain, I have felt the love. I can see people having fun, which is good. I also love the fact that, finally I get to wed my best friend. I'm looking forward to a future filled with God's love and spirit and guidance. And even with the coming baby, I'm seeing blessings from God.
This over again, I would do it, and I would marry you again and again and again.
When he came to tell me that he want to get married, I was about difficult. But when I saw the girl, I found that she was a lovely girl, soft spoken and loving. You can take care of the mother, and she's very kind.
I think my late father, God rest his soul in peace, the man that he was a man who commanded a lot of presence where he was. And his leadership was evident at home and at his places of work. The time I was born, my father was transferred from Kisumu, where I was brought up, and he started working in Nairobi. And there was a bit of a distance, so we wouldn't see him all the time. So for me, that's a no-no. If I was to do, to bring up my family, if I'm being transferred, I would love that we move together. So I would not want my kids to do that in terms of separation, like dad working in another town and the family is in another town. It was fun. I mean, life was really fun growing up, and mom made me not see the gap. I think I just see the gap now that I'm older. Like, things would have been different. Yeah. Well, I would say that looking at it now, and I see the good through it, people were seated at the reception. There was food nearby. And so the speakers and things are now moving very quickly, and it was nice. I mean, there's a lot of good.
And they were warm.
And of course,
warm.
had we been outside, the weather was generally cold. So this other side, we were in a ballroom. It was warmer. It felt closer, tighter. It was nice. I mean, we enjoyed ourselves. Yes, and the guests sure did. At least they had an idea. Yeah. they saw the vision and saw it well. Shared in half of it.
What you have done today is actually really underscores the courage, the decision that you've made.
My parents didn't manage to come because they were far away, but they were well represented by my uncle. I think you had us mention Uncle Ken, yeah. Dad's bro, I thank him so much. And not just him, everyone else was there. So I thank God that they came through for me. Even, to just be there for my parents and for everyone who was not able to come because of like logistical issues, someone not feeling well and stuff like that, yeah.
Who got better grades in school? All right. Who said first, I love you? Who said, I love you first?
I have to say that with the program running the way it was, I was like, do we really have to play games right now? With time gone like this, but we enjoyed.
Yeah.
We enjoyed. We didn't see it coming. The pastor said there was no correct answer, so I think I think we did well.
Were draw. I think we were draw, because there are those questions, like those one he asked, who's more creative? Paka ujichoche, there's no way you can say I'm not creative. How? Definitely, there are places I'm creative. When I'm cooking, definitely I'm creative. When he's planning his surprises, he's creative. Yeah, so I'm thinking there. We had to be independent, yes.
I didn't get to see her answers, by the way, so I just hope.
I was looking.
I just hope we did well. No, you see, yesterday was Eileen's day. I hear that the wedding is for the woman. But she was of the opinion that we could allow a couple friend to propose.
In fact, I was so happy, passing on the baton to someone else. I remember during that time I was so teary. I was actually pulling myself back so that people don't see me crying, because it's so beautiful. It reminded me of how I felt when I was being proposed to. So for me, it was like, you know what, guys, you have all my blessings.
I have a really close unit of friends. We sing with them in a group called the Instruments a cappella. She's been there through the formation of that group. She was already by my side as my girlfriend. So, my friends would tell me, Mboya, lakini dem si ametulia, yani. Ametulia, like, she doesn't seem like she's going anywhere.
Lynn was like the girlfriend of the group, because she's the one girl who has been there throughout our heartbreaks. She has seen us through, she has nursed us, she has taken care of us, literally. She's been by Tom's side for the longest time, truly. We usually say that she's our girlfriend. And now seeing him fulfill his long-time dream of marrying his love, Eileen, it's been a long journey, I can say.
So I think even my friends used to give me hints like, hey boss, what are you waiting for? She is ready, she's ready. Do something.
Actually the one who, contacted Catherine Nambicia of Classic Functions, because I had seen from Samantha Bridal how, her kind of decor. So I was like, one day when I get married, this is the lady who will do my decor.
Destination wedding needs a lot of logistics, a lot of planning, putting things in place. We had looked at the weather during the site visit. I asked them to have plan B, just in case the weather changes. But their heart was really for Rose Garden. Now, after we finished setting up the ceremony area, and all of a sudden, it started pouring. So the only thing we did was to create an aisle with our flowers leading to the ballroom, set up a pulpit in front of the bridal table. At least we had a good background for the ceremony area. Thank God for the ballroom, because I was just imagining if it was outside, what were we going to do? So we just put our heads together and said, now we have to dismantle the setup for the bridal table and now have put a pulpit. And that's what we did, and it worked. So you must always be ready with ideas of, in case this happens, what do I do? Plan B has to be there.
The decor was just out of this world. The job that was done was spectacular. And I've been telling her she missed seeing that. You know, like she didn't appreciate the kind of work, you know, with her eyesight. She didn't see that. But all the guests and myself, we were so happy with the kind of work that was done. The decor was just so good. And it was nice because the dance floor became not the pulpit. It was where we were seated. Please don't say I said the dance floor was the pulpit. I didn't say that. What was meant to be the dance floor was now where we were seated, then the pulpit was next to it. And then everyone was seated where they were supposed to sit when they're eating, except now they were seated at church.
She did a good job. I'm so grateful to her. And she's so motherly, and may God bless her. She did a good job. I can't complain.
It was a lovely couple. So what can you do for a lovely couple like that? Throw in some of the things that will make their day look bright.
Actually, he brought me here once for a holiday. He likes surprises, so it was one of those surprises. So when he brought me here, you know, we were still dating. And then I was like, you know, one day if you get married to me, if you feel like you want to, you know, this is where I want to have my wedding. So he's actually, you know, the promise he made, he always says he makes promises when he's happy.
It is a big problem. I would encourage all other men to be careful. Don't promise your woman when you're happy, because you have to live up to it, and sometimes it's tough. Even in my elements of surprise for her, normally I tend to listen to her wishes. You know, the way you're just having a story with someone, they tell you, oh, I'd love this one day or something like this, and then you kind of like go behind them and execute. So when they're surprised, you surprise them with something that eventually at the back of your mind, you know they'd really like.
Yeah. But it is so nice. There's a guy here called Curtis. We've walked with him this journey. He's been so nice, supportive, you know, telling us, you know, you can go, do this, don't do this. This will look nice, this will not look nice. I think the Fairmount family have been so good to us. I would say the best.